for personal statement. Now, this specific personal statement, it's a really good personal statement. It's about a farmer and how one person, he came from a farming background and then he transitioned into, if I'm not mistaken, internal medicine residency. But over here it is 6 paragraphs. Usually a personal statement, it should be a little bit smaller, maybe 4 paragraphs. The word count here is quite high. It's like 782 words, so it should be less than that. It should be ideally less than that. Oh, the yeah. So this is going to be one thing I can give feedback over here. So growing up over here as a farmer. So growing up, my father's dream for my future was that I would someday take over from him in running their family farm. My childhood was continuously balancing the act between completing homework and executing farm duties. Now that's a very good sentence, because you're saying homework, farm duties, and being good to your parents. So that's showing that you're resilient, you're hardworking. So you're giving like an example. You're not saying I'm hardworking. You're giving an example over here. Next, moving here, years of navigating these competing responsibilities had made me a fairly adept in multitasking. And in the back of my mind, I harbored the fantasy that I could fulfill my obligations to the farm while also entertaining my growing passion for medicine. Again, showing his positive, he's showing his strength that he's multitasking and he has a passion for medicine. However, this naive but well intentioned vision for my future came crashing down when I was admitted to the hospital for meningitis. Now, that's an excellent transition. One thing you should try to include in your personal statement is a time when you experienced a medical problem. So that could have been some meningitis, some sort of headache, or some people were diagnosed with cancer when they're younger, or you're a close family member. If you mention those examples, they can then pick it up and you can kind of work on those, and you can kind of show why you went into this specific field because of your past dealing with those specific diseases. Well, let's just come to the second paragraph. But he concludes over here that he wanted to become a physician. So the first paragraph, you can kind of focus on you becoming a physician, and then you can transition to you wanting to do a specific specialization in residency. So for example, you want to get into family medicine residency or internal medicine residency, you can specifically then do that in the next paragraphs. For the next 2 years, I worked as a waiter to be able to afford my dream to attending medical school. Again, guys, I've highlighted this word because again, he's showing that how he was struggled, his resilience, his hard work. He didn't give up to join medical school. So that's something you need to give examples. Let's come to the third paragraph. I quickly developed a passion for internal medicine as I began my clinical rotations, and in particular the high acutely patients. I entered the intensive care unit. I was amazed by the the complexity of every patient and the breadth of knowledge by critical care physicians. Now, this is going to be, again, he's giving an example. Really, personal statements are all about giving examples. So he's giving an example like, he worked in the intensive care unit. So therefore, when he worked in the intensive care unit, he saw the complexity and how well trained these physicians were, and he was really amazed by that, and that's what he brought him into internal medicine essentially. Let's come to fourth one. Now you also, of course, like especially for us IMGs, we need to mention why you want to come to the US over the country you possibly studied in or the country you're from. So that's what he mentions over here. So I kind of highlighted here. My dream training through training in the US, given the comparatively better access to cutting edge technology, clinical experts, and seemingly limitless research opportunities. Our financial burn here, this is a huge barrier for me. I tackled this the only way I known for by working in the evenings to save up money to come to the US. I worked as a general practitioner for 2 years to be able to afford a plane ticket and the battery of exams needed to enter the United States residency programs. So guys, again, like he was a waiter, he showed that when he was young, he used to work in the farm, and now he's even showing that he worked as a general practitioner for 2 years, then he could afford his dream to come to the US and then do this. So that really shows like that he is working, he is studying, he knows he is gone through the struggle. This whole personal statement is showing me that he is a hard worker, and he has never said that. He just gave me so many examples, so that's what's cluing me into this. Okay, Having spent 2 years in the US, I am ready to embark the next step of my academic journey for a program with comprehensive internal medicine training and robust research infrastructure to expand my growing passion. I aspire to be a clinician scientist that takes on the insight interaction of patients in the ICU to further the field to a treatment perspective and of improving healthcare equity and access. And yeah, that's a really strong over here. I don't know if this would be even needed, but I like the fact that having spent 2 years in the US, I like that line because that shows you have lived in the US, you know the system, you know the clinical system, and you're ready to stay here. The last paragraph, my journey has been a drearious creation marked by obstacles along the way, but I know of no other pathway of intellectually stimulating or personally rewarding as medicine. That's really important over here. My father has come to terms with the initial disappointment that I would not be able to take his mantle on a family farm. But he expressed newfound pride in my goal to pursue medicine and provide excellent care to physicians and families the way doctors that treated my meningitis did all those years ago. Excellent, because he in the first paragraph he mentioned meningitis. You know, he mentioned that he suffered from meningitis, and he was really amazed by how the doctors worked and treated him. So therefore, over here we can see in the ending, he is tying that in. That's important to tie it in. You know, he was initially drawn to medicine by those doctors that treated him, and now he's bringing that farm thing again, and he's tying it all in. That really, you know, the last paragraph you also want to say, you know, I'll be honored to do a residency at your specific program, but you also want to tie it in. So that's how I really see this. Yeah. So I think this is a really good personal statement, and this is all on Matcha Guy. I've taken this all from Matcha Guy, and I really encourage you guys to have a look at these personal statements. Thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys next time.